You're listening to Business Stories with Ryan Arcaracci, where I speak to business professionals from all walks of life. Thanks for listening, and let's get to it. Welcome back, everybody. It's Ryan. Today, I am looking to talk to the local business owner, somebody who is maybe starting out fresh in a new business at the local level. Maybe you're in a small town or a big city, and you really want to get your footing as far as marketing and sales. You can generate business with a successful marketing campaign. My guest today is Miss Laura Nelson. She's with SignPost. She's based out of Denver. She is the VP of Marketing, and Laura is here to talk to us about how to create a successful approach for marketing. Laura, thanks for being here, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks so much for having me. As you mentioned in your intro, I am currently with a company called SignPost. We are software for small businesses. And this is third in a series of companies that I have worked at that have served the small business audience through a software solution. But also I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Both my parents had a local publishing business that was supported by hundreds of advertisers every month. So it is a cohort that is near and dear to my heart. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, I'm in marketing, so I talk with business owners all the time about understanding their customer, about creating plans to meet them where they are and ultimately grow their businesses.
Right. And that's interesting. So were you involved at all when you were younger, helping your parents with the business or any marketing with them?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I played many roles in the business. As I mentioned, it was a publication. So I helped design advertisements. I helped with writing. I also helped with getting monthly copies to our advertisers, a little bit of everything, really. My mom was the real marketing genius behind the business, and she's the one who recruited and sold ads to all of our ad supporters. So I learned a lot from watching her and learning how she talked to local businesses.
That's interesting. So what are a couple of things she taught you? What did you learn from working with your mom?
I gained a real appreciation of sales, particularly inside sales. So she would make over 100 calls a day, trying to reach these advertisers, whether she knew them, from prior editions or whether she was trying to build a relationship.
Right.
And, being in the same room and hearing that, for hours and hours really made an impression on me. And right. I've worked with inside sales teams since and heard how they get rejected on the phone over and over each and every day. And I could not do that job.
Yeah.
But I do have a real appreciation for someone who's willing to put themselves out there, who can talk to strangers and who can help, create a need and provide a solution for something like advertising or software.
Right. So, when we talk about local businesses, one of the biggest things you can do to build credibility and generate business is through word of mouth marketing to attract customers. I mean, they say your best salespeople are really your customers talking about you, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you think are some techniques or strategies that somebody listening should start doing to build that credibility and that word of mouth?
Absolutely. Well, I mentioned advertising a minute ago, and that your audience probably already knows that that's not necessarily the answer when we're talking about credibility and word of mouth. Right. A lot has changed in the past couple of decades in how local businesses get the word out about their business and how, consumers talk about their businesses too.
Right.
A lot of this has moved online, and a lot of this has come to fruition in the form of online reviews.
Right.
So yeah, it used to be one direction, business was going to tell the market about what it did. There might be a testimonial on there, but it was, highly curated.
Right.
And now, people are going online to Google and Yelp and Facebook and talking about their experiences with businesses and, rating them and providing context to, their interactions with these businesses too.
Right.
So all of that to say, like what used to be a one-to-one recommendation from neighbor to neighbor is now one to many, right?
Right.
And someone can write feedback on a business that can be seen by potentially hundreds or thousands of people in a community.
Right.
So it's scary for business owners, but as you said earlier, those customers spreading the word of mouth is a real opportunity. So business owners really have to embrace that and make sure it works for them and not against them.
So when we talk about Signpost, I think Signpost is a specialist in sort of helping maintain that word of mouth, and helping spread the word and managing that. Because if you think about it as a business owner now, you're kind of, the spotlight's on you, right? Because one bad review could really hurt your business, right? But one
Oh,
good one good review could blow it up. So, how does Signpost handle managing that, that worry, like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do if I get a bad review, or what happens if someone says something in a Facebook group and the next thing you know, I'm in trouble. Like, how do you ease that worry?
yeah, a lot of this, the concept for the software came about because there was a need to systematize this process, right? What we find is that most businesses who play defense or who don't have a proactive role in generating word of mouth for their businesses, will be dealing with the angry people who are the first to go online and write a bad review,
Right.
right? We've all seen that where, a business may only have a handful of reviews, and guess what? It's the unhappy people
Yeah.
who have gone online and done this. What tools like Signposts help to do is make sure that, business follows up with every customer, be it by email, by text, links them up to the appropriate listings. And, you probably know this already, but if you've looked for a listing for a business and not been able to find it, you
Yep.
give up.
Yeah. Right.
So it's just about making that easy and sending that automatically after the service has been performed or after you've made a purchase and you're at your moment of delight,
Right.
right? So
Right.
if I'm getting my, HVAC system repaired or replaced, I'm happiest when the tech has left my home.
Yeah.
So, post-transaction, that's the perfect time to ask me for my feedback
Right.
and find, similar instances across all sorts of industries where, the best time is to ask right after that transaction has happened.
Right. Do you have any particular stories of clients you've worked with who have used Signpost and really seen just a lot of positive results through it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we have testimonials on our website and so forth. So those are easy to find. And the reason for that is like, once people systematize a process like this, has an immediate effect on improving their ranking in Google search,
Mhm.
right? We don't have all of the keys to the Google algorithm, and lots of factors go into that, like content, your website. But they do put a fair amount of emphasis on what's happening on your Google listing. Have
Yeah.
you clicked it? Have you added photos? Are you writing reviews? Are you getting recent and relevant reviews? And that's one thing that helps businesses stand out online and drive more business. So we hear that each and every day.
Yeah. Yeah. what do you think are, I mean, if someone's coming into this and listening and thinking, okay, well, I want some help with sort of my marketing strategy, what are some things that somebody should avoid off the bat? Because there's so much to invest in marketing. There's social
Uh-huh.
media marketing, there's Google marketing, there's marketing on this website and that website and with this agency. What are some of the things people should be aware of or watch out for?
I would say avoid big and long commitments.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is like huge expenses. Are you paying or overpaying for a website or an annual contract,
Right.
right? And maybe you just aren't sure if, this vendor is going to deliver or if this particular strategy is going to work out, like Google Ads.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of businesses overspend trying to optimize their performance on Google Ads, and sometimes it just doesn't work for particular businesses.
Right.
Another thing that I see businesses do is fail to measure the ROI of various activities, like, putting a bunch of money into, say, Facebook ads, but not tracking, which traffic is coming from those ads versus people finding them organically
Right.
online.
Right.
So you can't improve what you don't measure. So, setting those things up early helps to ensure that you can, monitor and manage your spend and then act accordingly.
Right. I mean, things are ever changing, right? With marketing every year, there's something new. I mean, we've seen the rise in TikTok now and all of this stuff. What do you think about, using things like TikTok and other social media channels and also like any new trends that you see coming out in this year, maybe into 2023? What do you see as the most beneficial to focus on?
Yeah, I think, I recommend, that businesses take a hard look at who their customer is and who their target customer is, and
Yeah.
hone in on the social media networks that make sense.
Right.
So, for example, if you're a business that sells to a more mature audience in, a community that doesn't have a lot of young people, for example,
Yeah.
maybe TikTok's not the right platform for you.
Right.
And that's an overgeneralization. There's all sorts of people on TikTok, but that's just one thing to think about. It all really starts with, who that customer is and what is the appropriate way to find them where they
Right.
are. Chances
Right.
are you can't start with everything. You've got to start small and, pick a couple of channels, do them well, and grow from there. So you asked about trends. I think TikTok is a big one. I see a lot of contractors joining TikTok and doing some fun stuff with it, building out their brand and trying to differentiate, among competitive markets that way.
Yeah.
I think too, another trend that has, come up and doesn't seem to be going away is this idea of customer experience.
Mhm.
It is making things easy for that prospect and customer once he or she becomes a customer throughout every touch point your business has with them. So, for example, if you are a business that only enables people to get in touch by phone, you're probably missing out on those prospects who would rather text you, send you a Facebook message, rather use your web chat, etc.
Right.
Think about where the friction points are with your customer interactions and figure out how to, optimize and improve them.
That's really interesting to talk about because I mean, like a while back, my parents had to go to a medical facility and
Mhm.
they they were amazed at how easy it was to sign in and get called up to go get, checked or whatever they were doing. And they came back and they told me, this experience was amazing. Everything was easy. It was fast. It was efficient. And I don't think people realize that is what people expect now. They expect the convenience,
Uh-huh.
sending a text, getting an answer, getting the answer they want, getting in and out the door quickly. People just don't expect to have their time wasted anymore. And that's part of the customer experience. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And you hit that nail on the head by highlighting the word convenience,
Yeah.
right? It's not just for Amazon. You can provide this at the local level. It
Right.
can be as simple as text communication for things that don't require a phone call,
Right.
right? Like my car was in the collision shop for the last 6 weeks. And while it took a long time to repair, I got texts twice a week with
Yeah.
the status. So
Yeah.
that was super convenient for me and for them. We didn't have to have a whole conversation about it.
Yeah.
It was right there.
Yeah.
Another example that comes to mind was when I hired a contractor for my garage door.
Yep.
Um, I didn't want to call multiple companies and get them to come over here. There was one that had an online calendar. Here, schedule your service appointment. Well, that was a no-brainer for me. I'm going to take the path of least resistance. That's convenient for me.
Right.
It's either after hours or the workday I'm working on this, and I don't have time to call a bunch of people, but I
Right.
can get on a calendar.
Right. Right. I think that's a huge key takeaway is that if you are marketing, your marketing is your customer experience, right? And the easier experience they have to work with you, like you said, getting those texts about your car, booking an appointment on a calendar takes 2 minutes of your time. That's huge.
Mhm.
That's a huge checkbox, to get customers, wanting to work with you because it just makes at the end of the day, people want their lives to be easier, right? Not
Yeah,
harder, right? So, you know, and I understand too because I work with some home service clients that, people their house is flooded or they have some damage. Like it's a stressful thing. And the last thing you want to have to do is make 10 phone calls to get one appointment. They want a
yeah,
text, they want an email, they want someone at their door quickly. They want the problem solved in the most efficient way possible. And I think that's what businesses need to understand these days is that's sort of the expectation of the consumer, right?
yeah. And I would encourage all business owners too to think about the great consumer experiences they have
Right.
and, innovate and create ways that they can be incorporated into your own business,
Right.
right? We don't all need same day delivery with the supply chain power of Amazon, but are there conveniences that you can build in that provide the Amazon experience for your own industry, right?
Right. Right. And I think the funny thing is it's the little things you do, right? Just the maybe the text after the job has been done, just hey,
Mhm.
how are you feeling? Did everything work out? Were you happy with the service? Were you happy with the person that came out to do the job? Um, and that stuff, those little tiny things that show you care are so easy to do now. And I know
Yeah.
Signpost has some technology that does this. Can you talk a little bit about the technology of Signpost and how you can help with this kind of a thing?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll touch on that briefly. We, as I mentioned before, we have a reputation management component to our platform in that, we help businesses get more word of mouth, more reviews online on the sites that matter to their business. So we've been doing that a long time. It's still super important to showing up online and getting chosen by that target customer. But we've also evolved into a communications platform where we're helping businesses with that next step, right? Someone finds your business, they choose you, now they have to get in touch. So what are the multiple ways? We help businesses open these lines of communication through, a single inbox texting platform. We bring Google messaging into that platform. We bring Facebook messaging into that platform. We also have a live receptionist service that complements our software in that we know that a lot of people do business by the phone but miss a lot of calls, And so, our team is able to help with any, capacity constraints that a lot of businesses are experiencing now with shortfalls in staffing, right? Backstop for night and weekends. That helps our clients make sure that they never miss a call, they never miss a business opportunity.
Yeah, that's great. Well, this has been a good conversation, Laura. If people have questions about Signpost or need some help from you or your team, what is the best way to reach you?
Sure. If you want to learn more about SignPost, just simply visit signpost.com. And if you want to get in touch with me, my email address is lnelson@signpost.com.
That's great. Do you have any events or anything coming up you want to announce? Any maybe webinars or anything you do to just offer free content or anything?
Yeah, I would check our social posts just depending on, when this podcast comes out. That will provide the most current info on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. We host and co-host webinars all of the time. We're attending trade shows all of the time as well. So hope to see you guys soon in your market.
Great. Well, thank you, Laura. It's been a great conversation. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks. You as well.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in becoming an episode sponsor, please email me at livingryan@gmail.com. And thank you so much.